What's good, guys? Welcome back to UFC Seattle full card predictions and breakdown. Obviously, we're going to give some betting tips, but you guys know how it is. We can't talk about next week without talking about last week. So I want to make sure, first of all, I want to thank you guys all. For some reason, I thought I was going to be shadow banned or something. Not even shadow banned. You guys have been giving me so much support. You guys have been liking every single video. You guys have been on top of, like, even when I was posting the community tab posts, you guys were like commenting right after I would post them. So the community posts were going out, everything's going out, the channel's going well. So thank you guys. I just want to tell you guys that I hope you guys are ready, because UFC Seattle is going to be fucking fireworks. This is how we did on UFC Fight Night, Robocop versus Cannonier. Obviously, it was a little bit of a tricky card, but by far one of the best Apex cards of 2025 already. I want to make sure how I said, so basically, if I said to my members, if I had members, I was going to post the slips, but this time I said that everybody was going to get the slips, everybody was going to get my bets on the post community tab, and it actually went well, so I might end up doing that again, maybe for UFC Seattle. Let me know if you guys want that. Maybe I might make some better plays. It was my first time doing it, so obviously we didn't cash with the Robocop. I had a couple of parlays with Robocop. We didn't cash with those, so maybe I should have said the over 2.5 in a community tab post. If you guys didn't know, my 6 best bets, my bonus was the over 2.5. Over 2.5 hits and the over 2.5 for the co-main hits. I want to make sure we go over every single one of these fights. Cavalcanti did pretty good. Obviously, she went to decision with Julia. Should have been able to finish that fight, but it is what it is. Julia Cavalcanti, money line by submission round points, hit. Dontel Mays got submitted by a heel hook. I wish I could predict the exact one, because he got a heel hook his last performance against Junior Tafa. Gets a heel hook on Mays. All I did was Walter Walker by submission round points, minus 165. Perfect. Elijah Smith, I took his money line. I think I was betting him live. I took his money line live. He did pretty good, very good. He leaves his neck a little bit too open. Williams went to sleep, and one of the Bonfim brothers actually won. So everybody was saying the Bonfim brothers were both going to lose. I had a feeling at least one of them was going to win. Ketlin Souza had a very competitive fight with Angela Hill. Angela Hill won that fair and square. Let's go. Bonfim, I thought he was winning that fight up until that question mark kick. He gets caught, and then he can no longer continue. It happens. Got that pick wrong, and then Robocop ends up gassing after he drops Cannonier a couple of times, and you could tell after that first round he tried to pace himself second and third, and then he gets almost obliterated, gets saved by the bell, and then into the next round, the fourth round, he gets finished right off the rip. Honestly, Robocop, let's see if you can come back, my guy. Let's see. Kind of gives me like a glass cannon vibe, but it's all right. It's all right. It happens. So overall, we went 9-3. Let me know how you guys did. Let me know if you guys cashed. And shout out to you guys in the comments, because I know a lot of you guys were texting me saying, "Yo, I cashed. This was the best night for me." So this was my first night betting. So, bro, that's what I want to hear. So thank you guys for being here. Let's get into it. Elijah Smith money line. I had him at a minus 164 live. I think this was around the first round. Once he got a takedown, the last second of the first round, he got a takedown. So he started to become a massive favorite. So I went heavy after the first round. I think like into the second round. So I went, let me go Elijah Smith. But that was a little bit of a sweat. So we hit with that one. And then Walter Walker by submission on points, minus 165. We hit with that one. And then right here, it's like, oh, I got a little bit sketchy. I was playing with fire. So I did over 2.5. I did Gregory Rodrigues, under 2.5 Edmund Shabazian, and uses the law by submission on points. And it comes up to plus 456, but I shouldn't have put Gregory Rodrigues. So this is another thing where I'll get better at it. But guys, I'm here to show you guys my mistakes so that you guys don't make the same mistakes as me. Over 2.5 should have just been the play. Should have just played over 2.5. Don't get a little too greedy. If I would have just took the over 2.5, it would have been perfect. So that's a good example of what not to do. This is how I felt after Robocop got finished. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So let's get into the breakdown, guys. Let's go. I'm glad that you guys are here. Let's go. UFC Fight Night, Cejudo versus Song Yadong. UFC Seattle. What a banger card, guys. We know that this card has had a lot of falling out from bouts and a lot of replacements. So with that being said, guys, we had Steve Garcia on this card. We had Macy Chasson. And we had a little bit of... we had Dominic Cruz on this card. But now this card is not... And we had Curtis Blades on this card as well, but it's not there. So there's a lot of new bouts. But I still think this card is still an 8 out of 10. So let's get into it. Obviously, let's get right into it. first fight of the night. Let's go. Modestas Bukauskas, minus 330 versus Raffael Cerqueira, who's a plus 240. Raffael just lost to KO by Ibo Aslan. Raffael lost to his first real step up in competition. Bukauskas just beat Prochnow by submission in the third round. And if you guys remember Modestas Bukauskas, he's the one who got cut from the UFC because he lost to Khalil Rountree. So he lost to Jimmy Crute, Michael Olajaychuk, and Khalil Rountree, and then he got cut from the UFC, and then he comes back after a couple of wins, and he comes back for vengeance. So this guy has bounced back, and he's looking better than ever. Bukauskas is a massive favorite. Dangerous, low. He's dangerous. He has a low output. Negative striking differential, 71% takedown defense. He did good against Prochnow, in my opinion. He got 2 takedowns in that fight. Raffael's a big underdog, super fast, and he's a freak of nature. Strength and height are both on his side. 6'4", 10 stoppages on his record. Very good accuracy. He lost to Ibo very fast. I don't think this fight goes the distance. Modestas has been KO'd 4 times, and Raffael has only been finished once. The pick is going to be Modestas Bukauskas, who gotten so much better since his loss to Khalil Rountree, but maybe there might be an over 1.5. If we're expecting that there's going to be a finish on either side, maybe we can try to play with an over 1.5. Maybe we can play with fire, maybe under 1.5, whatever you guys want. I do think, me personally, I like the over 1.5, and I really liked how he looked against Prochnow. Obviously, he had to work for it, but Modestas Bukauskas is here to stay, in my opinion. I think, it's all opinionated, but when you get cut from the UFC and you come back, for some reason, I see it as it's a little bit harder to do for some fighters. So I kind of see it as something that is a positive. So Modestas Bukauskas for the win. I'm going to go by KO on points. And specifically, I'm going to go by... we know the submission is there, but I think somebody's going to get knocked out. I'll probably go fight ends by KO over 1.5. And Modestas Bukauskas by KO on points. But I think he should be able to win this fight. I'll go by second round KO, if not 29-28 unanimous decision. Let's go, Bukauskas. Let's go. And if you see that loss to Khalil Rountree, his leg got destroyed. So go check that out. Nick Klein versus Mansur Abdul-Malik. Nick Klein is plus 420. Mansur Abdul-Malik is minus 650. Nick Klein is the guy who told Dana Jon Jones is the greatest fighter of all time, and he got signed after his performance. If you guys remember that on Dana White Contender Series. Klein can grapple, very good power, excellent kicks, good shot selection, great BJJ. His bread and butter is wrestling, which will be tested in this fight. He's making his UFC debut after a successful Dana White Contender Series. Mansur Abdul-Malik is a Division I wrestler from college. Massive power, explosiveness to get the takedown, massive elbows, brutal ground and pound. He just had a successful UFC debut after he KO'd Dusko Todorovic. Wrestler versus wrestler, Mansur is already a massive favorite, so there's no juice on him or no value, and rightfully so because I like Mansur Abdul-Malik, but I like him by KO on points. We know he's a wrestler, but he's not a wrestler that's going to be looking for a submission. He's a wrestler that's going to be looking to pound your face inside the canvas. And when we look at Mansur, his fight against Dusko, I had him as Lock of the Week 3 months ago. He's part of the reason why I had a 7-fight Lock of the Week streak. And by the way, I completely forgot to mention it. Jose Delgado Lock of the Week hit. So that's something that I want to get better. I want to pass a 7-fight Lock of the Week streak. So Lock of the Week streak starts now. Tune in for Wednesday, 6 best bets in Lock of the Week. I'm going to go Mansur Abdul-Malik, and I'm going to go by KO, ground and pound. I'm going to go second round KO, specifically elbow, ground and pound, mixed in with some hammer fist and some brutal power from Mansur Abdul-Malik. A prospect in the making, but he's undefeated, and we know 2025 is the year of the undefeated getting defeated. So, Mansur Abdul-Malik, I'm pretty highly confident. I'm going to go second round TKO. Let's go. Should be an absolute banger fight. Great way to start off the card. We'll see if the bout order stays like that. Now let's go. Simón. Ricky versus Javid Basharat. Minus 310 for Javid Basharat. A very good bantamweight bout in my opinion. Ricky has been on a skid, a 3-fight losing skid to be exact. And he lost a lot of momentum. We know his most recent loss was to Vinicius Oliveira, who just destroyed Said Nurmagomedov, which was by far a very impressive performance, especially in Saudi Arabia. Ricky is a wrestler with a win over Merab Dvalishvili, who's the former champion. Who is the champion? Sorry, correct me. Great cardio, good shot selection, but if he can't take you down, he looks terrible. When he can't get his rhythm going, he looks a little off or offbeat. Mario Batista showed the blueprint to beat Ricky Simón, constantly interrupting his rhythm, defending takedowns, and forcing Ricky to strike and force him to be uncomfortable. Matched up against Javid Basharat. Excellent defense, great striking differential. He lands almost 6 significant strikes per minute and gets hit with less than 3. Javid just lost to Ayman Zahabi, where he looked a little bit off and he had no answers. Javid by decision for me, but if Ricky gets his wrestling going in pressure, it won't stop. It's just like he's going to take you to deep waters. Javid needs takedown defense to be A1, and maybe he can even mix up some of his own takedowns. This fight, he needs to stay off the cage because Ricky's going to be trying to get that cage control, and he needs to keep it in the middle. Javid needed that loss to Ayman Zahabi if he's going to beat a guy like Ricky Simón, because we know that sometimes if his output is not as good, he tends to make fights a little bit closer than they need to be. So with that loss already on his record, the pressure's already off in my opinion, and I think just like with Kong Wang, just like with a lot of these people, these prospects who have a O on their record, they need to lose in order to get better, and because they need to see the holes in their game. So with that being said, I'm going to go Javid Basharat, and I'm going to go by decision. 29-28 unanimous decision. Obviously with Ricky, every time I see Ricky Simón, I always go over 2.5, over 4.5, Song Yadong fight. Although he did get finished in that fight, I believe, Song Yadong by KO in round 5. But every time I see Ricky Simón, he's tough. He's tough. His main attribute, one of his best alkaloids, is his durability. So over 2.5 for me. Maybe I'll go Javid Basharat by submission on points, but I'll go by 29-28 for Javid Basharat after losing the first round. Dude, I cannot wait for UFC Seattle. This is going to be an absolute banger card. Nursulton Ruziboev versus Eric Moicano. Maybe the plus 3.5 for Ricky. Nursulton Ruziboev minus 300. Eric McConico plus 250. This fight got made 4 days ago. Not sure if Ruziboev is ready or he has been waiting for this matchup and he's just ready to just fight already. I don't know how ready both of these guys are. Ruziboev has a good hand. He has good hands, and apparently he can wrestle. Very good BJJ. He can't really maintain top control, and he just lost to Buckley at 170. Eric Moicano, or McConico, is a patient pressure fighter. Gets you to the cage, slows down the fight, looks for a shot. Eric can transition on the ground very well. Short notice for both. Cardio should be a massive factor, and at middleweight, this fight will be much more competitive. Ruziboev is going to have to defend some shots, and even might have to wrestle himself, but I do think he should have more success on the feet than Eric. Ruziboev by decision for me, but we know Ruziboev has very deceptive and underrated power. A lot of people are going to be going Ruziboev by KO. I think Ruziboev by KO or on points. I don't think the submission is likely. If it is likely, I'll probably go rear naked choke. Maybe if he takes the back, but I don't want to put all my coins into the basket by just thinking Ruziboev is going to win this fight, especially at a minus 300. The short notice 4 days ago. I don't know how long he's known about this. And with what was going on last week, his little brother tried to make weight, wasn't able to make weight. They stopped him from cutting weight. So I don't know how he's feeling, what he's going into. But at a minus 300, maybe I don't know. There's no value on that unless you take double chance. Ruziboev by KO on points. Maybe it turns a minus 300 into a minus 200. Maybe I might go the over 1.5 if it is. But I do want to say, if I'm going to take Ruziboev, I think there's more value just to take him by finish. If you're going to take Ruziboev, take him inside the distance. He should be able to finish a guy like Eric. It's just a matter of whether he can or can't. Eric is making his UFC debut, so we're going to see what he has to offer for Ruziboev. I'm going to go Ruziboev by KO on points. Just that. I think that's the best prop. In my opinion, it's some 1-800 gambler type of fight. I don't think I'm going to touch this fight unless there's some good props. We'll find out Friday, last minute predictions. So let's go Ruziboev. I'm going to go by decision. I'll go 29-28. Let's go. Adam Fugitt versus Billy Ray Goff. Now, if you guys know Adam Fugitt, this guy is always tricky. He's always tricky. He's a mystery box. Adam Fugitt plus 215. Billy Ray Goff minus 290. Billy Ray Goff, Connecticut kid, Giga Chad. Northeast is the best side. Let's go. I'm just kidding. Adam Fugitt, forward pressure, wrestler, high guard, terrible takedown entries, not so good defense, gets cracked, gets dropped. He just beat Josh Quinlan, where he couldn't get a takedown if his life depended on it, but he actually managed to win that fight. Billy is a very accurate shot selection, has a very accurate shot selection, and he's very well-rounded. Excellent striking, good top control, and can work. He just went to war with Trey Waters. Billy is the pick. He's a decent favorite, but his wrestling is what should carry him to the victory. Billy, over 2.5. Billy by KO on points. Obviously, when we see Billy Ray Goff, we have to look at his most recent performance against Trey Waters. We know that performance was pretty crazy, honestly. That was pretty crazy. Honestly, when every time I see Billy Ray Goff, I know he's going to fight. I know he's going to fight for my money, and I know he's in a position to get back in the win column. This is a perfect layup, a perfect alley-oop for him. And in my opinion, he's going to struggle with the reach, 77-inch reach for Adam Fugitt. But I think in the pocket, obviously he's a wrestler, so you don't have to worry that much about reach. You just have to get their hips and clasp your hands. And let's hope he actually wrestles, because we know guys like Rinya Nakamura, Cody Steele, all these guys who are very good wrestlers, sometimes they choose not to wrestle. I'm very confident on Billy Ray Goff. At a minus 290, I think moneyline is perfect, but I will say at 26 years old, there's a 10-year age gap in between both of these guys. The veteran experience, obviously, how much can you say he's a veteran, right? Because it's 10-4 and 9-3. There's only 2 fights in between them, but I will say he's older. And sometimes these older guys just have some crazy strength, but Adam Fugitt is a guy who I'll never probably pick to win a fight ever. So he took Josh Quillen to split decision. I'm going to go Billy Ray, and I'm going to go Billy Ray by KO on points. I think he should be able to finish. He should be able to finish Adam Fugitt, maybe with some ground and pound. But Adam Fugitt he's pretty durable. I'm going to go Billy Ray Goff by KO on points. I'll go by 29-28, 30-27, and 29-28 unanimous decision for Billy Ray Goff. Let's go. Ian Cutelaba versus Ibo Aslan. Ian Cutelaba plus 124. Ibo minus 158. Banger of the night. Fight of the night. Written all over it. Ian Cutelaba is a brawler, a slugger at heart, gets good explosive takedowns. He just beat Ivan Aslan with massive takedowns and control. And I picked Ivan Aslan in that fight. I thought Ian Cutelaba was washed already. Matched up against Ibo Aslan. So, Ian Cutelaba just beat Ivan Aslan. And now he's matched up against Ibo Aslan. Aslan is a heavy-handed and a bit reckless. Doesn't wrestle at times. His cardio can be pushed to limits, like in that Anton Takash fight. He just KO'd Raffael, who we were talking about earlier, in the first round. Aslan, slight favorite. I like the money line. Aslan better have been working on his cardio, because Cutelaba will test it. Cutelaba can get worked by technicians. If you brawl with him, it's in his favor by miles. So obviously Cutelaba is going to be dragging this guy into deep waters. You're going to be trying to drag this guy into a brawl. I think the body shots for Cutelaba can work if he's going to try. Maybe the low kicks can work. We know with Aslan, he's reckless. He's a wild card. We don't know what we're going to get with Aslan, but I know that he has that power. And I know if he's going to throw out everything in the window and he's going to just swing in the pocket, it's fair game, but I don't think he should do that. 77-inch reach, he should stay on the outside, try to pickpocket his shot, find the counter, crack his chin, and go home early. But I do think this is going to be this might be a war until round 2. I think this might be a war until round 2, and somebody's going to get knocked out. First 5 minutes, crazy pace. Ian Cutelaba shooting a double leg, trying to just throw everything, throw the wall, throw bricks at Aslan. Aslan's trying to eat punches. He eats punches, doesn't move his head, walks forward, stuns Ian Cutelaba, goes into the second round. Ian Cutelaba tries to go for a takedown, takes him down. Aslan gets up, gets a massive, nasty right hand over, and TKOs Ian Cutelaba in the second round. I'm going to go. This fight doesn't go the distance. I'll probably go over 1.5, and I'm going to go Ibo by second round TKO. Let's go. But that is a close fight. I recommend you take Ibo right now, because those lines are probably going to shift. We already know Gene Silva's like a minus 800, and he opened up at a minus, like, what, minus 5 or minus, I don't know. He, like, when the odds earlier this morning, they were like minus 500 for Gene Silva. Now he's a minus 800, minus 720. Andre Fili versus Melquizael Costa. Andre Fili minus 113. Melquizael Costa minus 113. This fight will be a war. I expect a banger. Andre Fili is a great technician who's a bit chinny. Andre is fast, technical, and good head movement at times. Not all the time. He averages over 2 takedowns per fight. He just beat Cub Swanson with takedowns. Matched up against Costa, who is a very well-rounded athlete, but has no technique for his takedowns. Good hands, good combos. He just won by sub over Shalan Nurebek, where he was getting controlled over and over until he got until he took the guy's back and he subbed him. Andre Fili would be top 5 if he had a chin, in my opinion. His recovery is decent, but if you crack him hard enough, he won't recover. This is a pick'em odds. Over 2.5 for me. I think it's going to be a striker's delight. A technician for technician. We're going to see if the technician can prevail in Andre Fili. I'm going to go Andre Fili for the dub, but I want to say this fight right here really impressed me from Costa. Shailene Nudabek. That fight was crazy. He's getting controlled, and then he takes it back and gets a rear naked choke. That can happen here. Andre Fili is controlling him. He's winning the fight. All of a sudden, Costa takes it back and submits him. This is going to be one of those fights where, in my opinion, you could flip a quarter on it and choose whoever you want. I'm going to go Andre Fili. Obviously, we know the factor of the chin. We know durability, and we know his recovery might not be the best. But I do think out of chin, durability, and recovery, his recovery is the best out of all those three. So if I'm going to go Andre Fili, I'm going to go Andre Fili by decision. And he's going to have to work for it. Guys like Dan Ige got to him. Guys like Nathaniel Wood got to him. And they got to work. Do not let Costa work. If you let Costa work, he's going to just strength his way in. And he's going to be able to crack. And even if he doesn't put your lights out, he might stun you. It's going to look bad for the judges. 28 years old for Costa. In my opinion, I think he has a lot more momentum. Although they're both on the same, they both just won their last fight after losing. I do think Costa has a little bit more momentum. Andre Fili has been training with a lot of guys. I like the gym that he's at, Team Alpha Male. But we know Shootbox is good as well. So I'm going to go Andre Fili by decision, low confidence, 29-28. I'm just going to take money line and the over 2.5. Let's go. Main card. Alonzo Menifield versus Julius Walker. This is a new bout. We know that whenever we look at Alonzo Menifield, he's another mystery box. Alonzo Menifield -140, Julius Walker +120. Another short notice scrap put on this card, but at least we have fights. Maybe they both had a little heads up prior to the fans knowing about this, but no matter what, this is going to be a good scrap. Menifield, terrible fight IQ, great power, sloppy on the feet, rushes forward, shoots for a takedown, sometimes a glass cannon. And honestly, he just lost by KO to Azamat Murzikonov, where he ate punches for breakfast, and he's not looking too good as of recent. I think a calculated Menifield is a dangerous fight. Hopefully he doesn't try to just brute his way in to win. Matched up against Julius Walker, a very new fighter who just turned pro 2 years ago. Walker is an athlete. His takedown defense is sketchy, but he's a good striker with good BJJ. Good output, good accuracy, but he has a 0. And 2025 has been the year of taking the O. Menifield being the favorite is surprising. UFC debuts are very hard to win, especially against UFC vets like Menifield. Overwhelms. What if he just overwhelms Julius Walker? I think he has a beautiful path to victory. A lot of people are going to say recency bias, so I'm not going to go Menifield. That's what they're going to say. Why would I pick Menifield when he's on a 2-fight losing skid, that being both by KO inside the distance? Low confidence, but I'm going to go Menifield, guys. I'm going Alonzo Menifield. I don't think I was even thinking that I was going to pick Alonzo Menifield, but the more and more I look at it, 2 years as a pro is nothing. 2 years as a pro is absolutely nothing. 25 years old. I can see Julius Walker losing his UFC debut, coming back, and then we look at that Alonzo Menifield like Imavov losing to Phil Hawes. I can definitely see that. Every time, when you're in the UFC and you just start off, if you were to tell me Imavov was going to lose to Phil Hawes, like right now, if I saw Imavov as a number 2 contender, right, number 1 contender, and somebody said, "Oh, did you know that guy lost to Phil Hawes?" and I didn't know, I would be so surprised. So I could definitely see Julius Walker getting his first loss to a guy like Alonzo Menifield, and then becoming way better from that loss. I'm going to go Alonzo Menifield, very, very low confidence, but I'm going to take double chance by KO on points. I'm going to take the over 1.5. Maybe over 2.5. I'll play with a little bit of fire. Maybe there's a little bit of a sloppy fight. Maybe Julius Walker's more durable than we expect him to be. But he does finish almost everybody. Everybody. I'm talking almost everybody. So more than likely this fight's not going to go the distance. And maybe fight ends by KO is a good play. I'm going to go fight ends by KO. I'm going to go Alonzo Menifield moneyline. And I'll take maybe the... If there's an over 1.5, I'll play with it. Let's go. Alonzo Menifield, low confidence. The biggest favorite on the entire card, Gene Silva versus Melzik Bargarderserian. Gene Silva minus 720, plus 450 for Melzik. Right now, probably while you're looking at this or hearing this, Gene Silva's a minus 1,000, minus 800. The Fighting Nerds. Is he the best fighting nerd? I don't know. We're going to find out. Very good, excellent striker. A striker's delight. Gene Silva, the knockout artist. Great body work, great jab. And his third KO in a row for Gene Silva. After his short notice appearance against Judober, which was a doctor stoppage, matched up against Melzik Bogdasarian. Melzik is a super aggressive, plots forward, good kickboxing background, uses kicks, good pressure and power, but can't grapple. Just won by decision over Tuko Lutz, where he had zero takedown defense. Melzik can have some success, maybe take a round, but it's going to be kind of rare. Gene is not going to shoot for a takedown. He's one of the biggest hype trains from Fighting Nerds. Massive favorite. Gene Silva is going to get to work. Give me double chance. Silva by KO on points. Give me the over 1.5. And you know what? If I see the over 2.5, I'm going to play with it. I'm paused, but I'm going to play with fire because when we see Gene Silva, sometimes he is in some fights where this guy can go the distance. He went distance in Dana White Contender Series against Kevin Vallejos, but we know that that was a pretty rare sighting. Gene Silva more than likely finishes his fights inside the distance. So if there's an over 1.5, I think I like that a little bit more. I'm going to go Gene Silva by KO. I'm going to just go Gene Silva by KO. I'll take Gene Silva by KO round 2, and then I'm going to take Gene Silva by KO on points, double chance. I'm going to go Gene Silva. And if he ends up winning by decision, I'll go 30-27. I think it's going to be an absolute dominant performance. Obviously, we know Tukur Lutz is nowhere near how good Gene Silva is, but I'm going to go Gene Silva for the win, and I think he should be able to finish this fight inside the distance. So I'm going to go Gene Silva for the win by KO. Let's go, Gene Silva. Let's go, Fighting Nerds, for a beautiful celebration after. Now, we know there's a new bout. Plus 190 for Rob Font. Gene Masamoto, minus 225. Short notice switch up. Dominic Cruz pulls out from shoulder injury, and he retires. And I'm a little bit upset about that because I know a lot of us wanted to see Dominic Cruz back in the action, especially retire with a win. Rob Font is now rescheduled to fight Gene Masamoto, who was supposed to fight Chris Gutierrez at UFC 313, but is now matched up against Rob Font at 140 catchweight. Rob Font, older, decent chin, not too much power, doesn't wrestle, doesn't have good takedowns, defense, and his bread and butter is the striking department. High volume, very good defensively, lands almost 6 significant strikes per minute, and gets hit with less than 4. Rob Font doesn't move his head at much, but he has great cardio and he has a piston like a jab. Straight punches are Rob Font's greatest weapon in his arsenal. He just destroyed Kyler Phillips, who has a gas tank of 5 minutes. But he did get taken down by Kyler Phillips, but Kyler Phillips is terrible. Matched up against Gene Masamoto, a very well-rounded black belt, good takedowns, very good double leg. Even on the bottom, he always works. He gets hit a lot more often than I'd like him to, and some can say he almost lost to Brad Katona. He was taken down 3 times, and we saw Gene put his power on display. Beautiful low kicks. I think short notice favors Rob Font. He's been ready for this fight. He's had a great camp, in my opinion, but he can't defend takedowns if his life depended on it. Rob Font wins in a boxing match all day, but this is MMA. Qatar did really good against the law, so I expect Rob to look great early. And I know, what does Calvin Kattar have to do with Rob Font, but they train together and they come from the same gym, New England Cartel. At one point, New England Cartel was very, very good. Like, they were on the map. They were putting the MMA on the map. But then you find out that their takedown defense is not that good. I think a guy like Gene Masamoto can take advantage of this short notice opportunity and can get away with the dub over Rob Font. That jab, that piston like a jab, is going to be problems for Gene Masamoto all day. We know Rob Font was actually able to defend some takedowns against Kyler Phillips, so we can't take anything away from him. But I will say, just one good double leg, especially this being 3 rounds, I think Gene Silva can, push a little bit more harder, and make this fight a little bit more competitive than he needs to be. And if he needs to use a little bit more strength, leak a little bit more gas, I think he can burst a little bit more energy considering this 15 minutes. Obviously, he's 16-0. What's 2025? The year the O goes away. I'm going to go Gene Silva. I'm going to go Gene Silva by submission or on points. If you're going to take Rob Font, I like Rob Font by decision. Either one, I think this goes the distance. I like the over 2.5. 50-50 fight, flip a quarter. May the best man win. Rob Font has the advantage because of the camp, and the short notice favors Rob Font. I think Gene Masamoto can get away with this. Maybe he can try to, I don't know what he's dealing with. I don't know all the aspects around him, but Raffael's 37 years old. I'm never going to take anything away from him. But this is Gene Matsumoto's chance. And I like the Gene parlay. Gene Silva and Gene Matsumoto 2-leg parlay. Already placed it. Let's go. Give me Gene Silva by submission. Give me Gene Matsumoto by submission on points. I'll go by 29-28 unanimous decision. Brendan Allen versus Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. Brendan Allen plus 220. Anthony Fluffy Hernandez minus 295. The rematch, the long-anticipated rematch. These two fought in the main event at LFA for 5 rounds. Fluffy Hernandez ended up winning a decision. If you watch their first fight, Allen throws up a bunch of submission attempts off of his back, and Fluffy nullifies Allen's sub-attempts. Allen takes the back of Fluffy. Allen takes Fluffy's back in round 2, but gets taken down and he slips off. This time he's much more evolved, and if not a completely different fighter. Allen even fully flattened Fluffy out completely in round 4, and he had the back of Fluffy Hernandez. But then he slips off again. He had a very good close rear naked choke, but Fluffy turns into him, and he reverses it. Allen, their first fight was a bunch of sliding off, taking the back, losing position, a bunch of scrambles, and Fluffy ended up winning by 50-45, 49-46. But it was a very competitive fight in my opinion. There's some fights that go 50-45, but they still end up looking a little bit more competitive in my opinion. Brendan Allen was able to take Fluffy Hernandez's back. If he's able to take Fluffy Hernandez's back again, he's not going to let go of that. The way he had Imavov's back control, he took all round off of Imavov, and what led him to his own demise, to him losing to Imavov, was his gas tank. The fact that he got tired against Nasruddin Imavov. We know Imavov is the number 1 contender at middleweight now, so there's no shame in losing that. He had a 6-fight win streak prior to losing to Imavov, and he put it all on the line for basically a test to see if he's really going to crack the top 5 or not. This is a very good match. Honestly, the reason why I'm a little sketchy on Fluffy Hernandez is because of the submissions from Allen. If Allen is throwing up submissions over and over again, especially if he's perfected his craft. The last time they fought was years ago. So this might look like a completely different fight. So if Brendan Allen takes Fluffy Hernandez's back, goes for the rear naked choke, he might not let go. I will say Fluffy Hernandez has very good submission defense. But Brendan has evolved ever since their first bout. He's a BJJ black belt, solid low kicks, good back control, excellent backpack technique. And we know against Imavov, he lost rounds 2 and 3. Matched up against Fluffy Hernandez, excellent takedown merchant with relentless pressure. Fluffy Hernandez averages almost 7 takedowns per fight. Great entries, great shot selection, and a very great chain wrestler. BJJ black belt, 6-fight win streak for Fluffy Hernandez. Just recently beat Michel Pereira in a 5-round main event. And he overwhelmed him with 10 takedowns, where everybody was saying Fluffy was weak to the body that fight week. Michel Pereira can't defend a takedown if his life depended on it, so take that fight with a grain of salt. I do think that this fight being 3 rounds favors Allen because he can explode a little bit more and he doesn't have to manage his gas tank. But we do know that Fluffy Hernandez has great cardio, so this can favor Fluffy Hernandez just as well. Fluffy naturally has a better cardio, and recovery is on Fluffy's side in my opinion. His win over Roman Kopylov is by far one of my favorite performances from him. Fluffy works, and uses his cardio to tie in the rest of his arsenal and overwhelms his opponents. If this fight ends up being on the feet, Brendan Allen's going to work him in my opinion. 75-3, 6'2", it's a mirror match, but Brendan Allen has better striking than Fluffy Hernandez in my opinion. I'm going to go Fluffy Hernandez, I'm going to go Fluffy by submission, and I'm going to go Fluffy by sub points. I think this fight goes the distance. I'm going to take the over 2.5. I'll take that this fight goes the distance. And then I'll take Fluffy by submission, little sprinkle. And then I'm going to take Fluffy Hernandez by submission on points. I don't think a KO is likely, although a lot of people are picking KO. I will say if there is a KO, it's going to be like some fluke. Maybe some ground and pound. Maybe Allen hurts his arm or something. But I don't think he's going to be able to KO Brendan Allen. Brendan Allen's tough. And we know Strickland was able to finish Brendan Allen, but Anthony Hernandez is not known for his power. If he's going to finish Brendan Allen, it's probably by a good submission, maybe rear naked choke, arm bar, whatever it is. I'm going to go Fluffy Hernandez by submission on points. Let's go. Fluffy Hernandez for the win. Let's go. Main event time, Henry Cejudo versus Song Yadong. Henry Cejudo plus 230, Song Yadong minus 310. Former 2-division champ, Olympic wrestler with a 46% takedown defense, and he did take down Aljamain Sterling. Henry Cejudo, good striking defense, very good technique, and a great IQ. He mixes it up very well. And he has a very good inside trip. His resume is by far one of the best in the bantamweight division. He recently lost to Merab by decision, but he hurt Merab for a brief moment until he got taken down over and over. Matched up against Song Yadong. Excuse me. Song Yadong, a guy who loves to stay in the pocket for way too long. Song Yadong is fast, athletic, and a freak of nature. He's a good one too, and very, very, very fast hands, but he gets hit a little more than usual. He is super aggressive, which leaves his hips open for a nice little double leg single or single shot. He tries to dictate the pace, doesn't really cut the cage that well. He doesn't cut distance that well. He doesn't follow his opponent that well, in my opinion. And he's a little bit plotty. Song Yadong looked great against Ricky Simón, and he showed he can go 5 rounds and keep a good pace. But he is coming off of that loss to Peter Yan, where he defended 3 takedowns, but shot 7 of his own takedowns. In my honest opinion, wrestling is the last thing to go as you get older. We've seen Glover become champ, but at bantamweight, it seems like the division has caught up to Henry Cejudo. Triple C will always be a legend, but one of his biggest mistakes was retiring after he beat Dominic Cruz. I think the time away, age, and momentum not being on his side won't be in Henry's favor, but still, he showed to be elite in both Aljamain Sterling fight and Merab fight. If Henry can get a good inside trip on Song Yadong, he can fight his pace and exhaust Song Yadong. But Song is very sharp, good elbows, and seems like he's in a great position to win this fight, especially after that fight from Peter Yan. This is a very competitive fight. Main event, may the best man win. Maybe the over 2.5 is the play. I think this fight goes the distance. I'm going to take Song Yadong by KO on points. He took Aljamain Sterling to a split decision, and it was a razor close fight, but he hasn't won a fight since 2020, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. So with that being said, guys, we know Triple C has all the odds against him, but in his last 2 fights, guys, 2 former champions he fought, and he didn't get finished by any of them, and he took one of them to a split decision. I think this is going to be a very competitive fight, way more competitive than a lot of people expect, and I think this fight goes the distance. I know a lot of people are saying maybe Song Yadong could get a KO, maybe he could finish Henry Cejudo inside the distance, but Henry Cejudo is one of the most durable fighters I've ever met. The only time I've seen Henry Cejudo get TKO'd is against Demetrius Johnson in their first bout. Yep, at UFC 197, round 1. In my opinion, guys, Henry Cejudo has one of the best resumes in the UFC, and the fact that he only has 4 losses, guys, if he has a win over Song Yadong, this guy's back in the momentum, and he's back in the bantamweight division. A win over Song Yadong will put Henry Cejudo on the map, and he's back in the title mix. I will say, though, guys, I'm going to go Song Yadong, low confidence, because I don't like the way he cuts the cage. I don't like how Corey Sandhagen was able to land that elbow, cut him open, and he loses by doctor stoppage. He was a punching bag in that fight. And we know if you're a punching bag and you're easy to take down, that's a tailor-made matchup for Henry Cejudo. I'm going to go Song Yadong, medium confidence. I'm going to go by KO on points. I'm going to take the minus 310. Maybe if I go by KO on points, it turns into a minus 250. I'll take that this fight goes the distance. And I think maybe a good live bet. Maybe I might live bet. But let me know what you guys think. I'm going to be taking Song Yadong. I might live bet. I'm going to take that this fight goes the distance. Maybe the over 2.5. And I'm going to take Song Yadong by KO on points. Specifically, though, I'm going to go Song Yadong by 48-47, 49-46, and 48-47. Unanimous decision. Let's go Song Yadong for the win. Let me know what you guys think. Are you guys excited for this card? When it rains, it pours. UFC Seattle, here we come. Let's go. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let's get it. Let me know if you guys have a good lock of the week. If you have any good props, any good plays, any good insight. You know what I'm saying? Let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys for all the love. I'll see you guys in the next one. Let's get it. Peace. Hey.